discharged in prison related to 2021 PS 26-01197 murder, 2021 PS 26-01198 criminal conspiracy to commit murder, 2022 PS 26-035 report accessory after the fact, and 2024 PS 26-035 with conspiracy to commit kidnapping. Your Honor, both sides are prepared to go to trial. However, it is the state's understanding that the defendant will be entering a plea of guilty to criminal conspiracy to commit murder and accessory after the fact murder, that he has agreed to be available to testify for the state in the trial of his co-defendant, Meagan Jackson, and that he will enter the plea today, but sentencing will be held in abeyance until after he testifies if necessary.
Mr. Jackson, I can understand as well.
That is correct, Your Honor. And Your Honor, I have spoken with the victim's oldest son, and he is in agreement with this resolution.
Does he wish to be heard today?
I told him that because the sentencing wouldn't happen today, he wanted to get back to work.
All right, Mr. Jackson, you are here today with your client, Christopher Dontell, to enter a guilty plea for criminal conspiracy to commit murder as well as accessory after the fact. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And have you had a chance to discuss the elements of these crimes as well as the evidence that's in possession of the state?
I have.
Have you also had a chance to discuss with him his constitutional rights and any defenses he may have if this was to proceed to trial?
I have.
I see here that he has signed an initial right acknowledgement of rights form, indicating that he understands his various constitutional and trial rights, but that he'd like to waive those and enter a guilty plea here today for those two charges. Is that your understanding, Ms. Jackson?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And do you concur with this decision?
I do.
Good morning, Mr. Dontell. How are you? Good morning. Mr. Dontell, are you currently under the influence of any drugs or alcohol or anything else that would affect your understanding of what we're doing? Are you aware of any mental, physical, or emotional problems that would prevent you from understanding these proceedings? Now, Mr. Dontell, you're here with your attorney. You have signed an initial right acknowledgement of rights form, indicating that you understand your various trial rights and constitutional rights, but that you want to waive those rights and plead guilty here today. Is that correct? Correct. And you understand that we've already picked a jury on this case. The jury's here. And if you would like a trial, we can have a trial.
Your Honor, I don't believe he was sworn.
Well, you're correct. Let's go ahead and swear you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Mr. Dontell, now that you've been sworn, does that change any of your interest in previous questions? We're going to go over them just to be on the safe side. And again, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol or anything else that would affect your understanding of what we're doing? Are you aware of any mental, physical, or emotional problems that would prevent you from understanding these proceedings? And again, I see that you signed an initial acknowledgement of rights form indicating that you understand your trial and constitutional rights, but you want to waive them here today and plead guilty to these two charges. Is that correct? And you understand that we picked the jury the other day and that they're here waiting if you would like to proceed with your trial. I also want you to understand that the case that we have and these charges, you obviously have a right to have your attorney here. And I'm just going to go over some of the rights that you've already signed and initials that you understand. But you understand that at your trial, if you would have gone to one, you would have had your attorney with you. You would have been able to call your own witnesses. You would be able to cross-examine any witnesses that the state may have. You understand that? You also would have had the right to testify or not testify. You understand that? And I want you to understand that if you had chosen not to testify, I would have instructed the jury that they can't hold that against you. You understand that? But you'd like to waive all of those rights and plead guilty here today to criminal conspiracy to commit murder and accessory after the fact. Is that correct? And are you doing this of your own free will and accord?
Yes.
And have you had an ample opportunity to discuss these matters with your attorney? Have you also had an opportunity to see the evidence that's in possession of the state?
Yes.
And you've discussed all of this with your attorney as well as the elements of these crimes?
I have.
Thank you, sir. If you'll listen to the solicitor as she puts the facts on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, if the state would proceed to trial, the evidence that will be presented would show that while Mr. Dontell was working as a deputy coroner for Oregon County, he began a relationship with the co-defendant, Meagan Jackson, who was involved in body transport. As a result of that relationship, Meagan Jackson became pregnant with Mr. Dontell's child. There were anonymous messages being sent to Mr. Dontell's wife, which caused problems. Additionally, Meagan Jackson expressed to Mr. Dontell issues that she was having with the victim, Gregory Rice. She also specifically said at one point that she would cut his brake line, or this is my best chance to get rid of Greg. There were a number of occasions and text messages to support this where Mr. Dontell and Ms. Jackson would essentially engage in target practice. On the day of Mr. Rice's disappearance, there is surveillance video showing Mr. Dontell and Ms. Jackson leaving their community in separate cars. There is what the state believes to be a blow-up doll in the passenger seat of Ms. Jackson's car. And at one point in a text message, she had said, "We can go to the woods and play with blow-up Betty." It's the state's contention that that was sort of target practice. That's hours before Mr. Rice disappears. The defendants then go to Abuelo's, and then at some point, Mr. Rice is brought by Ms. Jackson to Myrtle Beach Funeral Home. His phone last connects with a network at 11:06 approximately that night, October 2nd, 2020. And that's the Lowe's Food on International Drive, right, 31. According to Mr. Dontell in his proffer, the next day, he knew that Mr. Rice had been at the funeral home. He does not know, according to him, what happened to Mr. Rice that night. Mr. Dontell has told us before that on the next day, which would have been October 3rd, 2020, that Ms. Jackson said to him, essentially, "It was him or you. I need you to go get him out of the cooler at the Myrtle Beach Funeral Home and get rid of him." We then have surveillance video of Mr. Dontell at the Lowe's home improvement store purchasing items that were later found to be used to dispose of Greg Rice's body, specifically a tarp, ratchet straps, 2 cinder blocks, and some zip ties. There was a sheet found wrapped around the victim that matched the sheets at the Myrtle Beach Funeral Home. There's also cell phone data showing Mr. Dontell cleaning off the tower near where the body was dumped. And LPR is showing him traveling to and from that area, as well as surveillance video of the PE exchange going towards the dump site and back from the dump site. I believe that's everything.
Okay. All right, Mr. Dontell. Mr. Dontell, you've heard the facts as stated by the state, what they believe were the facts that occurred that night, or those over those period of days. Are those facts true and accurate?
Yes.
You understand when you engage in activities like that, it's break the law, correct?
Correct.
Are you pleading guilty to these charges freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Very much.
Has she answered all your questions?
Yes.
Do you have any questions of me?
No.
And you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up your right against self-incrimination. You understand that? Because you're telling me that you committed these crimes. Other than the state allowing you to plead to these two charges, has anybody promised you, threatened you, or coerced you in any way to get you to plead guilty?
No.
This is your decision to plead guilty.
Yes.
Again, you're doing this freely and voluntarily with no coercion by anybody else.
I am.
Have you understood all of my questions?
Yes.
Have your answers been the truth?
Yes.
And you understand that the sentencing range on these penalties is 0 to 5 on criminal conspiracy and up to 15 years on the accessory after the fact. You understand that? And then I could sentence you to those penalties consecutive. You understand that? Meaning that it would be a total of 20 years.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Dontell. I find that your plea is freely and voluntarily made with the consent of competent counsel when you tell me you're satisfied. I will accept your plea. The state has indicated that they would like for you to hold sentencing in advance to a later date. I do want to retain jurisdiction on this case, given that you have pled in front of me. Like I said, I believe that your plea is freely and voluntarily made, so I will accept it, and we will withhold sentencing, or hold sentencing in advance till a later date. Thank you. Anything, Mrs. Timmercheck?
And Mayor, we appreciate you as retaining jurisdiction. We appreciate the state working with us to make sure that the facts are correct, and we will just look forward to appearing in front of you again.
May we have a return?
Yes. All right, Mr. Dontell, let me get you to stand. The state has indicated they would like me to ask one other question of you. Mr. Dontell, you were pleading to criminal conspiracy and accessory after the fact. Were you the person who killed Gregory Rice?
Yes.
And Mr. Dontell, you understand that I'm not going to entertain any kind of bond motion prior to sentencing. You understand that? Thank you. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from the defense?
Yes, very good.
Thank you. We'll be at ease about 10 minutes, and then I will bring in the jury and release them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So he's pleading guilty to accessory and they're using this for him, like he's pleading guilty to two of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How are y'all? Did y'all enjoy your visit? I heard there was a juror that was planning on making breakfast for everybody. Is that?
She cooks for us.
Well, I really appreciate your patience. I've been so patient over the last few days. I told you down in the jury room the first morning that we were never going to waste your time, and that if we were not bringing you out here is because we were working, and we had been doing this. The reason we sent you home yesterday, and the reason we're just now bringing you out, is that the defendant in this case has decided to plead guilty. He pled guilty this morning in front of me to conspiracy to commit murder and also accessory after the fact of murder. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that y'all are the reason that he did that. And I say that because jurors, when they're brought in, often bring a realization that this is real, that the jury's here to try this case, that and it puts it all in perspective. And that's why I truly believe that we have the greatest system on earth. I truly believe that. I just want to thank you so much again for your patience. I know y'all been back in that tiny room. You probably know way more about each other than you ever thought you would. I thank you for being here. I know that the state of South Carolina, through the Solicitor's Office, the 15th Circuit does, and I know that the Defense Council does. We all took oaths when we got our position, and you have taken oaths as jurors, and I know y'all are here to do your duty, and I certainly appreciate it. With that being said, I'm going to excuse you with this caveat. There may be another trial this week. The Solicitor's Office is working on that, and we may end up pulling another jury tomorrow morning. So what I'm going to ask you to do is call in tonight You'll receive the instructions at that point, and I may or may not see you tomorrow morning. But again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
I wasn't listening.
Anything else from the state?
Nothing from the state.
Anything else?
Nothing further.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think Mr. Hallford will just get in touch with me about.
Yes, Your Honor. My understanding is that we'll have a good business here this afternoon, the two pretrial motions. But if you guys need anything, just let me know.
If you can just relay to him that we'll try to, if you can have everybody here at 1:30, we'll get started.
We'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and Your Honor, if you want to update the roster, Christopher Williams never showed up on Monday, and so he's being subpoenaed for roll call, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. And Pickett will just continue with the process.
I believe we have already on the January.
All right. Thank you.